Alright, today we're going to be going back to some packet stuff for a little bit. So we're going over vocabulary for quadratics. Those are the type of graph that we have been working with, so the U-shaped things. So quadratic function or parabola is a function with the highest exponent of 2. So that's why we always have like 3x squared plus 2x plus 6, let's say. So that's an example of a quadratic because even though I have 3 terms, the highest exponent that any of them have is 2. Okay, the parent function of quadratics is just x squared. We will talk about this a little bit more, but that is something you want to have memorized. So I would go ahead and highlight that one, but you need to commit this to memory. The parent function of quadratics is x squared. Okay. The vertex is the lowest or tallest point of your graph. Okay. And that one we have also been working with. So like if it was, a minimum, that means the vertex is here. If it's a maximum, that means my vertex is here. So in both places, that would be your vertex. And I've already sort of touched on it, but maximum is when your vertex is at the top. A minimum is opposite, so that's when your vertex is on the bottom. Okay, and that would be what those graphs look like. So I usually ask, like, is it a mountain or a bowl? And that's what I'm referring to, so the maximum or minimum. And the line of symmetry is the line that splits your graph in half. Okay, and that's always written as x equal a number, and we will come back to that when we actually look at the problem. So if you just had your graph, the line of symmetry would be the line that goes right through the middle. Okay, so that's your line of symmetry. And the roots, this is where your graph touches the x-axis. Okay, and other names include roots, zeros, x-intercepts, and solutions. So in class you may hear me refer to this as rocks because R is my root, 0 kind of looks like a O, X for x-intercepts, and S for solution. So you need to know all 4 of these words for the word root. You could get asked either way. Okay. So if you had a graph, and let's say your parabola looked like this, you would have one root right here at the x-intercept, the x-intercept. You could have 2 if it looked something like this. So my roots would be right here. So right where this graph touches the x-axis. Okay, so I went through those briefly, but I want you to use those words to label this picture. So figure out what the line of symmetry is, what your roots are, and what your vertex is. And go through and answer how many roots, solutions, x-intercepts, zeros, all of that. Okay, if yours got messed up a little bit like mine on the next page, E is referring to the first page, and I do want you to tell me if that first graph is a maximum or minimum. So flip back to your first page and make sure you do actually answer this question. For the rest of this, we're just practicing where to find all of our key parts of the parabola. So my vertex here is right at the bottom. And I know that if my vertex is at the bottom, it's a minimum, so I can go ahead and fill that in. My vertex needs to be written as a point, so for this one, it's just 0, 0. My graph touches the x-intercept 1 time, so I have 1, 0, 1 root, 1 x-intercept, 1 solution. And the roots of this function, it touches only at x equals 0. So x equals 0 is my solution. If you're getting stuck on C, feel free to ask me in class. I think you'll just need a couple practice problems and you'll be good. Okay, and then last but not least, my line of symmetry is the one that splits my graph in half, which for us happens to also be the y-axis. But remember from the first page, we are always going to write our line of symmetry as x equal a number, and it's always whatever x it is. So my x is 0. So I'm going to write x equals 0 as my line of symmetry. Okay, so do what you can on the next 2 pages. Like I said, if you have questions about C, let me know, but I think y'all can do it.